Continuing to field questions here for USMLE. I have a student from the Telegram group who sat the step 1 2 weeks ago and wants to know how to prepare for the step 2. This is a challenging question to answer because many of you watching this are at different stages of your 2CK prep in varying circumstances. There's those of you who are on clinical rotations and you're going to be doing questions and from UWorld and the Clinical Mastery Series forms alongside your shelf exams. There's going to be those of you who've already graduated and you just need to knock step 2 out of the way as quick as possible so you can apply for the match, okay? So I understand there's a variety of circumstances to address, but I'm going to give you some important consolidated points as far as how should you prepare for step 2, what are some important things to know. So before we get started, please subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. Give the video a like, I really appreciate it. Find me on Instagram at Mehlman_medical, MEHLMAN_medical, the link is down below. Find me on Telegram, recently created a Telegram group and channel, links are down below. Now start the clip. So for 2CK, I should first and foremost articulate that in order to get that maximal score augmentation that you need, the crux of your prep is going to converge on doing lots and lots and lots of questions, okay? So you should know, just as a very important point for starters, that reading info from books is largely potential energy that might feel good in terms of you learning the info, but doesn't translate into that score augmentation like you need oftentimes. So you need to do lots and lots and lots of questions. The more questions you do, the higher you're going to score on 2CK. It's essentially a competition for who's going to do the most questions, okay? So we need you going through UWorld. That's pretty standard. That's not novel information. It's not creative, okay? So UWorld's very basic starter for your prep, and there's thousands of questions in it. You're going to be going through 40 to 80 per day. Generally 80 is good for pace. 80 per day in tutor untimed random mode. I've made plenty of other clips here on the YouTube as far as how to go through UWorld blocks, etc. So I'm not going to get heavy into that right now, but you need to go through UWorld, okay? That's for starters. Now, if your performances are really fucking shit in UWorld versus they're pretty decent, that doesn't necessarily change our management going forward right away. Because the next thing we're going to do for most students, it's not cookie cutter, for most students what we would do next is move you on to the Clinical Mastery Series questions, the NBME subject-specific questions that are on the NBME website, and they're also in some Facebook groups. IM, PEDS, OBS and Gynae, etc. You're going to do all of those NBME questions, and as I've talked about in other clips, the NBME questions are the same as the ones on the Real Deal. Okay, the Real Deal is not UWorld. The Real Deal is the Clinical Mastery Series / NBME questions. So we're going to have you do all the Clinical Mastery Series questions for the different subjects. You're going to be screenshotting your incorrects from those Mastery Series forms into a Word document, saving as a giant PDF / as Anki cards. And after you go through all those Clinical Mastery Series questions, the CMS questions, you're going to move into NBMEs 6 through 11. So 6 through 8 offline, 9 through 11 online, and then we theoretically just move you into the Real Deal. Now, as I said, it's not cookie cutter for every student. If you have weaker scores when you're going through the NBME material, we can pause and say, how do we want to remediate? Do we want you doing a new QBank now, like USMLE RX for a month? Blast through that, increase your volume of questions. Do we want you revisiting UWorld incorrects? Not a second pass of UWorld, but UWorld incorrects, it's a possibility. That's if your scores are really low. But if you're scoring pretty well by the time you finish the Clinical Mastery Series questions, and you've done 6 through 11, we can pretty much have you sit at that point. So whether you're on clinical rotations and you're doing the UWorld questions and the Mastery Series forms by rotation, which helps you ace your shelves, or whether you're post-grad already and you just need to knock out the questions before you sit, you're going to be going UWorld, the NBME questions, and the Real Deal. And you're going to be integrating my PDFs as you go, okay? So I've got the PEDS, OBS and Gynae, Surge, etc. The free high-yield PDFs are on my site. Those are very valuable for you to go through, okay? There's lots of resources for 2CK. Recognize that, and as I prefaced with, you could be reading lots of books that are a waste of your fucking time. My PDFs are derived from the NBME exams, okay? I don't just conceive of the notes that I write based on, this sounds like pediatrics, that should be on the Real Deal. No, it's based on doing questions daily with students and knowing what actually shows up. And I say, the USMLE cares about this. They don't give a fuck about this, and just writing it out in concisely, note style, okay? So this isn't going to be a 19-minute clip. You're going to make sure you go through UWorld, you're going to go through the Clinical Mastery Series questions, the NBME questions, you're going to be going through my PDFs, and you're going to sit the real deal. You know the deal. I'm going to continue making more content. If you like my stuff, subscribe my channel, and I appreciate your time. That's it.